Hello, everyone. It's Nathaniel. I haven't gotten much sleep in the last month because I've been working on the book pretty much nonstop. It's pretty crazy. I didn't think it would be so long. Right now, I'm doing a final rereading to make sure that everything is of an acceptable quality. There are a few typos I'm probably missing just because I'm so tired. Right now I'm revising chapter 15, and it kind of gives a couple hints about the book, so try not to read, okay? Try not to look at the screen. I just wanted to talk today about something that recently crossed my mind. And it's pretty crazy because it's something really obvious, and somehow I had never made a video about it. But, if we look at the Holy Pornography at face value, like forget all the artifice, I'm not saying they don't matter, but go to the core elements of the Holy Pornography. This is a man preying on kids. I know it seems obvious. Yeah, I know that, Nathaniel, it's been obvious. But I want to insist that when you spend so much time analyzing it like I did, eventually you lose sight of the core situation. And we know that this fucker has hit on 4 kids, but he probably hit on many, many more. What are the odds that he just happened to chat with 4 children exactly, and they just all happened to be PJ decoys? This fucker was doing that routine to every girl in the chat room, every girl that looked young. And when you think about more in detail, he's not only preying on children, he's preying on vulnerable children. And that's an interesting nuance, because when you read for the first time the Holy Pornography, you're like, yeah, sure, he's preying on kids, so what? But more than that, he specifically targets kids that have a vulnerability, kids that are neglected. Like, we can kind of assume that if a kid ends up in an adult chat rooms, like Kayla, like Lauren reminds us, I can kind of assume that they're vulnerable, but not always. It's like, today it's like chat roulette, Chat roulette today, plenty of kids go into that just because they're curious. And then they're going to see like some guy exposing himself, and maybe the modern Lauren, they're on chat roulette. But all this to say, like, they're not necessarily vulnerable kids, but the way Lauren acts, and I like to compare Lauren to a spider, and he has a web and he weaves it. The way he does it, he specifically wants a vulnerable kid. A kid that has been either neglected or abused. Like, if you read a lot of chat logs from Peroto Justice, they always play an abused kid. Beaten by their parent, molested by an uncle, neglected emotionally like Kayla. It's a common theme, and then there's so many kids like that, So many kids that were neglected, and that's how they end up doing stupid shit like that. Because we might make fun of Lauren, but there are plenty of real Lauren and real Kaylas, And it sucks. It sucks that there are so many children that are vulnerable. Like, we should really make a priority as a society to instead of attacking predators, I would act so that there aren't any vulnerable children. Like, I would go and care for all of them. This is something I've been working on just before I work on the book. I was working on Duplessis' Orphans, and you should read about it. It's interesting. To sum it up very briefly, it's a long, complex stuff. Basically, what happened is that orphans were treated like mentally retarded kids by religious order, and they were like in prison and tortured, and their entire life were ruined by adults. You should read on it. I'll make an article on Duplessis' Orphans, but basically that's what it is. Orphans were abused by religious sisters, and that's vulnerable kids. And one question I wonder while reading it is, we should have really found a good adoptive family for all those kids, We should have placed them in good families where they could develop and they could like become normal, instead of letting them be abused by religious sisters and all that, beaten and starved and locked up and chained. And We should really, as a society, care for neglected kids. And sometimes, we do care. Today, things have kind of changed, and now we have the CPS and all that. But they only care about the most severe cases. Like, if it was for me, Kayla would be a CPS case. Like, yes, even though she has 2 doctor parents, if I was the CPS, like, you find Kayla so starved for love and affection from her parents. They yell at her, they ignore her, they don't care about her. I would go and I would give therapy to the parents, and if they can't do it, what can you do? You can place her in another family, and then she will not only be abused emotionally, she will be probably abused physically or sexually. Perhaps this is a problem with no solution, and that's why it depresses me so much. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening. Leave me a couple comments, and I'll make an update on the book very soon. Thank you. Good night.